I found a new business idea that nobody else is talking about. In fact, I've never talked about this product before, and I've never seen any other YouTuber actually cover this product as a business idea. It's not saturated, it's unique, it's data driven, and it's making people $26,000 a month. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you how I found this product, how I validated that this is actually a good business idea, how you can make these yourselves, how you can add your own spin on them to stick out among the existing competition, and more. We're gonna go into how to price this, how to automate fulfillment. So if you've been looking for a unique print on demand or just business idea in general, then this is the video for you. So what exactly is this business idea? Well, it is selling custom napkins, but specifically custom pet napkins. And you might be thinking there is no market for that. Well, that's exactly what I thought too, until I uncovered this and then did the validating behind this. So let me show you exactly how I found this gap in the market. Well, I was using E-rank, which is a tool, and I really like it for using the keyword research tool, in which you can search up a keyword and then find related keywords or sub keywords that have high search, low competition. So I already knew that custom pet is a massive market on Etsy, but for majority of print on demand products, it's pretty saturated already. But I was curious to find out if there is any custom pet products that people are searching for that are underserved. So in the keyword tool up here, I just wrote custom pet, and then we're going to search that. And then we get these stats here. We can see that there's quite a bit of searches for this keyword custom pet, but there's also a lot of competition. But the wonderful thing about using E-rank is if you scroll down, you can find keywords related to custom pet, and you can change the different match type. Before this, I was just looking on the default match type here. And what we start to see is words or different keywords containing custom pet, and then maybe a different word at the end, which brings us to a different amount of average searches and competition. So we can see custom pet sweatshirt still gets a lot of searches, pretty low on competition compared to if you look up pet portrait or pet shirt. We have custom pet gifts. But if I start scrolling down, you start to see more with a lot more opportunity. We have custom pet blanket, custom pet socks, custom pet sweater, custom pet pillow, custom pet plush. By the way, these are all products that you can get on Printify. And scrolling down, the one that caught my eye, just because I had never thought of it before. I've seen all of these other ones, the pet plush, the pet pillow, but the custom pet napkins has 400 searches a month and only 3,000 people competing for that keyword. And scrolling down, you're gonna find a bunch of other products that still have high search, low competition. Things like custom pet pajamas, custom pet keychain, custom pet bowls. And what we're about to do in this whole video here can be applied to any of these products. But before you actually take a look at this and just decide to go with it, you actually need to validate the product and make sure that it's something that you can compete on. I've done research on custom pet socks in the past, and there is a lot of people selling them for pretty cheap, and compared to the price that I'm able to get them for, it wasn't exactly worth it. But I'm going to show you why the custom pet napkins, out of all of these different ideas here, really stuck out to me. Well, coming into Etsy, I actually just looked up custom pet napkin, and the first great sign that I'm seeing is I'm seeing a bunch of popular now or bestseller tags on these. Sometimes there are niches or keywords that might show high search, but there's actually not a lot of buyers. But coming in, if you see a bunch of listings that are bestsellers, that are popular now, that's a great sign that this niche is buying. And using Everbee, which is my favorite extension tool that I use within Etsy itself, I'm able to see just how much people are making selling these. So I'm gonna go to look at the full Everbee database and make sure the word custom pet napkin is there. And then you can sort by amount of sales or by revenue. I'm just gonna keep it revenue here. And we can see that the top listing here is making $27,000 $7,000 a month off of one listing. The next great sign when it comes to this keyword is that it's not just one listing making a bunch of money and then nobody else is. There's actually a whole lot of listings that are making a very good amount of sales per month for these custom pet napkins. The next good sign that I'm seeing is the second bestseller here is only 3 months old, meaning people who are still listing this year are finding success with this product. The next thing you might be asking me is, well, look at those prices, Christina. People are selling these for $2. How am I supposed to compete, especially when on Printify, these are selling for $18.48 with Printify Premium and $7.29. Well, digging into this, let's take a look at more of the information. If we actually take a look at the sizes here, you can see that these come in a 50-piece pack and a 100-piece pack. So that price is not per napkin, it's for 50 or for 100. So you can get 50 of these for $18.48 and 100 of them for $28.69. But still, these look extremely cheap. Most people selling them at $9, some people selling them at $2, until you actually open the listing and see what's going on. This listing here, which I can see using Everbee, has sold 712 times since being listed in the last 4 months, shows up that they're selling it for $9.90 plus $9.99 shipping. But if you actually open up the size and quantity of napkins, the 50 piece is $44.55. And if you want the 100 piece, that is $75.60. And then they've just created all these intervals of higher amounts by just adding different quantities of 50 and 100. And scrolling down, the $9.90 is the digital file only. So people, when they're actually searching on Etsy, don't want a digital file. They would look up a digital file. They're just listing this so their listing looks cheap. And I get so many comments on YouTube stating, oh, how am I supposed to sell a shirt for $5 like the competition? Actually open their listing. Most of the time, people are not selling their products for that cheap. And the wonderful part about this product as well is people usually aren't just buying 50. If you see, a lot of these are advertised as wedding napkins. So people usually have more than 50 people at their wedding, not always, but I find lately every single wedding I go to has at least 100 to 200 people, and it could be more. And the more and more products that you purchase, or the higher quantity, the profit amount that you're getting on these just goes up significantly. If people just buy the quantity of 100, this person's selling it for $75.60, and minus the Printify cost to buy 100, which is $28.69, that is a profit of $46.91, almost $50 for one order. So let's go in how you're going to actually make these and how you're going to add your own spin to make sure that you can stand out from the competition. We don't want to be copying what everyone else is doing. So maybe that's a different style of pet, a bird, or you advertise it as a cat. A lot of people had dogs on the main photos, but there's so many pets out there. And remember, the keyword for this was custom pet napkin. But if you still wanted to stick with the dogs, the first thing I want to do is come up with a new saying for the napkin and write within Kittl. And if you want to use Kittl, I have 25% all the plans in my description. But using the Kittl ChatGPT, I just said, I'm designing custom pet napkins for weddings. Give me some punny sayings for the napkins. And I got things like positively in love, forever starts today. The one that I really liked was, I think, pause and reflect on love, or this one, pause and enjoy the moment. The next thing I'm going to do is go on over to Creative Fabrica, and I've got links for every tool that I'm using in this video, guys, in the description. But I'm going to come to Creative Fabrica, and I have looked up just dog breeds, and I'm going to go pick one that has a style that I want to do for my napkin. Ideally, a different style than what everyone else is doing. Again, we want to just stick out and appeal to someone who maybe wants something different. So maybe we actually want a color one here, and maybe I like this clip art one right here. Let's grab this. And now I'm going to download this, and we're actually just using this for a style. So we're going to still make these fully custom, but I wanted to get a style that was free and available for print on demand usage, so I can use my AI to train and use this type of style. So we're going to download the style that you like. Then in Kittl, you're going to open 2 different artboards, and you can open multiple artboards within one project by hitting this A button down here, or hit A on your keyboard, and then it lets you draw out a new artboard. And in one artboard, you're going to grab the file from the person who bought from you. So you're going to ask them to send you or email you a photo of the dog, dogs, pets, cats, birds, whatever. Get the photo, and then you're also going to open up an example style that you like. So this is the one that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. If the dog matches what you got from Creative Fabrica, you can use that as well. But this one didn't have a husky, and pretend this is what I got from the person. What I'm gonna do is click on the artboard, and just above it or at the side under tools, I'm going to hit Smartboard. And then before I do anything, I'm gonna click on the name of the second artboard. I'm going to grab this arrow that I see that is on the right side here, and I'm actually going to drag this arrow up until you see it connect. So now you should see 2 purple lines connecting to one artboard. And now when I grab or hit this smartboard here, you can see that it's referencing the 2 photos. And then I'm going to try 2 of the different image models here. I have the highest hope for the ChatGPT because they're usually pretty good at creating something new using 2 photos. So I'm going to hit that. Then I've given it the prompt, using the vector design style of this second photo, recreate the husky photo in the same style. So I did actually have to play with the prompt a little bit because it was making the corgi or the husky face forward too much like the photo. So I did change the prompt to be recreate the husky in the style of the second beagle photo, make him face the same direction with the same view. And this is pretty close. And then I also did a version down here where I actually didn't use the original prompt. And then I just use a smartboard with the beagle photo here. I'm really hoping I'm getting my dogs right. And under the smartboard, I just gave it a simpler prompt saying, make a husky version of this design, which I still think looks really close. So you could either use this or you could use the 2 artboard technique here and then try to just really get specific with your prompt. But it does, I find, usually work better when you're just using the one prompt. But say they have a very original looking dog, then this first version or first way of doing it is probably the best, but you might have to play with your prompt a little bit. Now, once I have my dog, I need to actually make my design file. If you click into Printify, you can see the print area size for the napkins are 863 by 863. So in Kittl, I've opened an artboard, which is 863 by 863. And that is this artboard over here. And I'm going to grab my dog/dogs and I am going to convert to image. I'm going to make this much smaller, which is great. Usually scaling down means the quality will be a lot better than scaling upwards. And then I'm going to remove background. And then we're going to add in our text or our design or our customization so we can show people what this is going to look like. And now I've gone and made my own version of this napkin. So I actually applied a different type of style of design, a little bit more fun. This could also be great for a party, but I noticed that this is doing really well in the wedding niche. So I've changed this up a bit. You can make it more fun. You can make it more artsy, more modern, however you would like to go. And who knows, you can make a bunch of variations of this so that people can see multiple different listings and they can pick which one or which style they like from you. But now you may be wondering, okay, I know where to get this product. I know how to create the design, but how do I actually fulfill this item? Well, like I've mentioned, Printify is an online supplier that prints and ships all of your designs, including these napkins. But that's not all. They have tons of different products. In fact, when we were looking at E-rank and seeing all those different custom pet products, those were all available on Printify. So if you want to go a different product route, then this is still your best bet. And what you're going to do is make sure you have your Etsy store set up. And then in Printify, you're going to make sure that your Printify is linked to your Etsy. When you first set up your Printify, it's going to ask you to connect a store. And if you scroll down, you can see that you can just connect it to Etsy. And what happens is every time you get an order in Etsy, Printify is going to pick it up. And because this item is fully customized, we can't really run it the more automated way by creating the item in Printify first. So what you're going to do instead is come on over to Etsy and you're going to go to your listings and you're going to create a brand new listing. You're going to fill out the category. You're going to go in and fill out your titles. You're going to go in and fill out your photos. And don't worry if you don't have photos, you can easily make these by buying mock-ups on Etsy. You can just go to Etsy, look up napkin mock-up, and there are tons of different mock-ups that you can buy. And then you just put your design file on top, save that, and upload that as your main photo. And then you're going to fill out your listing. If you are a little confused here, you are a beginner, check out some of my other videos on SEO and how to create listings that sell. And I highly recommend going through that, also studying the competition, seeing what types of photos they're using, how they are wording things, what their pricing is. And one other thing that you need to do is you need to turn on your personalization, and then you need to instruct people how to give them their information so that you can actually fill out their custom products. So you can say, what names do you want on the product, what date, and then you can ask them to either email you a photo that they want to use for their dogs, or they can Etsy message you it as well. And now once you make a sale on Etsy, and again, I highly recommend going watching videos, make sure you're creating a listing that appeals to people and helps people make a decision. But once you've gotten through that, once you make your first sale, how you're going to fulfill that in Printify is you are going to go to your orders. This is likely going to show up in other orders because it's not linked to Printify, that exact listing, but your Printify is connected to your Etsy. So it's going to show up in other orders. You're going to go down, you're going to hit that button of the name of whoever ordered from you. And then what you're going to do is hit create new product, and ignore this, guys. This is my mock-up store. So obviously this isn't the product they purchased, but if they were purchasing from you, you would see that this was your napkin listing here. And you're going to go to create new product. You're going to search up napkin. We're going to go with the white coin napkins, which is the one that we wanted to use. We're going to hit the supplier, which was Taylor. And then you're going to go with whatever they selected. So you're going to make sure when you're setting up your variations, you are matching the variations to what's available here. So maybe you offer the 4.8 by 4.8 and the 6.5 by 6.5, and then also the different quantities as well. So say they ordered the 4.4, 4.8 by 4.8. We're going to select that. We're going to select the color, and then we're going to select whatever amount they wanted, 50 or 100. If they ordered 500, you're just going to duplicate this and you're going to order 5 quantities of the 100. But let's go to the 100. Then you're going to make their design. So you're going to plug in the right photo that they gave you and your new variation of it. You're going to type in the names they gave you if you're offering name customization. And then we're going to download this file as a PNG file, and we're going to remove background. And then back in Printify, you're going to hit upload and you're going to bring in your file. You can reposition it if you like, or I built this right to the exact requirements. So some people have it just in a corner design. They have the full center design. Again, however you want. We're trying to create something new here. So I'm going to take up the whole center of this design here. We're going to go to save and review order. And now I can just import the order and send this to print for this customer. And now what happens is it goes to print on Printify. Once Printify prints this and ships it, they actually mark it as fulfilled on the Etsy side, and they include the tracking. So after you actually upload your design and send it to print, there's nothing that you need to do unless a customer reaches out to you. And remember, you're not doing this to copy the other bestsellers. They have so much more data behind them. They've got history of selling. You need to create something new, put your own twist on this, change up the design to appeal to new people, maybe change it to be a party, a birthday, a different type of wedding, a themed wedding, change the pet type. Maybe you want to do a different type of napkin where maybe it has a photo of the couple instead of going the pet portrait way. But you're going to just make sure you do the research first behind what you're doing and then change it up. Do not steal from other people. Put your own spin on it. Otherwise, you're not going to find success. And if you're new on Etsy and want help getting set up correctly and making sure that listing is set up to sell. You can check out my ultimate Etsy checklist listed in the description below for only $9.99, which is every single strategy, setting, tip you need to make sure that you have a complete store that is set up to sell and listings that people actually want to buy. If you need extra help creating a listing that sells, I'm gonna link up this video next, which is called Give Me 10 Minutes and I'll make your listing 95% better. So go ahead and give that a watch. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.